Did you know that there are automatic repeals of state agency reports? California law actually requires the automatic repeal of certain state agency reports. This requirement is contained in California's Government Code. It's Title II, Division 2, Part 2, Chapter 1, Article 2. So, in that section, there are certain specified duties on the legislative council, the legislature's lawyer. These provisions were added to state law in 2010 by Assembly Bill 1585 and made effective February 26, 2010. So, Government Code Section 10231.5, Subdivision A says a bill that is introduced or amended in either house of the legislature that would require a state agency to submit a report on any subject to either house of the legislature generally, a committee or office of either house of the legislature, or the Legislative Council Bureau shall include a provision that repeals the reporting requirement or that makes the requirement inoperative no later than a date 4 years following the date upon which the bill, as enacted, becomes operative, or 4 years after the due date of any report required every 4 or more years. If the bill requires that the report be submitted to either house of the legislature generally, then it shall also include a provision that requires the report to be submitted pursuant to Government Code Section 9795. So this subdivision, of course, lengthy as it is, sets forth the requirement for an automatic 4-year sunset date on any state agency reporting requirement. And this applies to any report submitted to a legislative branch entity. You should also look at Government Code Section 10231.5B that follows the prior one. That one says that the Legislative Council, in drafting a bill for introduction or an amendment to a bill that would impose a reporting requirement described in Subdivision A, shall include a provision that repeals that reporting requirement or makes the reporting requirement inoperative 4 years after the date on which the requirement becomes operative, unless the person requesting the bill or amendment directs the Legislative Council to do otherwise. If the bill requires that the report be submitted to either house of the legislature generally, the Legislative Council shall also include a provision that requires that report to be submitted pursuant to Government Code Section 9795. Now, this subdivision B provides specified drafting instructions to the attorneys in the Office of Legislative Counsel. The main drafting requirement is that the reporting requirement is repealed after 4 years. So, as a result of this subdivision in the Government Code, you'll see language similar to the following in a bill. It reads, pursuant to Section 10231.5 of the Government Code, this section is repealed on, for example, January 1, 2031, obviously 4 years after the imposition of the state agency reporting requirement.